Hey guys, Caller here bringing you the third set of Jangbi versus Arnc, and Yellow Arnc is down 2-0 right now against Jangbi. We could be seeing another Protoss move ahead here, and in fact, Arnc is the only Zerg remaining. We could be seeing a all Protoss round of 4, in fact. Cal versus Stork is going to produce a Protoss player, of course. Jangbi versus Yellow Arnc is going to, looks like, produce a Protoss player if Jangbi can hold this off. Firebat Hero versus Bisu could bring out a Protoss player, of course, and Nada versus Free could also bring down a Protoss player. So we could be seeing 4 Protosses in the semis, which will actually be quite boring, I think. Racial diversity is a good thing in America and in StarCraft. Anyway, so we're seeing here Yellow Arnc spawning in orange at the 7 o'clock location. We're seeing Jangbi spawning in teal at the 11. And, you know, Arnc is just really not looking that good this entire series, I gotta say. He just looks like he's been outclassed by Jangbi. Jangbi's been playing great recently, certainly beating his opponent Memory so comfortably in the round of 16. It just looked effortless. And certainly he's not sung so much as a, you know, he's an unsung hero because he's not as popular as some of the other, you know, or well known as some of the other good players out there, I feel. You know, he's no Stork, he's no Best, but he's always there waiting in the wings and certainly a dangerous opponent at any given time. Maybe it's just among the foreigners, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. Anyway, we're seeing the overpull here with speed done by Arnc. I really like this build, actually. I've been opening with this build a lot. As a Zerg player against Protoss. I like it. It's sort of my standard build, in fact, because the nice thing about it is you can force a cannon break or a run-by. You also can get rid of the scouting probe, and it doesn't put you that far behind economically. A 9 pull with gas puts you a little bit further behind, of course, and it's going to be he's probably going to pull the drones off gas after he gets the first 100 for the metabolic boost, and he's probably going to expand, and then we'll see what he decides to do. You can sometimes, well, the sort of standard response afterwards is to go for 2-hatch Mutalisks, but you can also sort of play mind games with your opponent and go for 4-hatch Hydralisks afterwards, or some kind of crazy 2-hatch Hydra Rush. All sorts of things you can do afterwards, or play a standard game, get your 3rd hatch down somewhere and go for lurkers. A lot of opportunities, but the main thing is Jangbi is not going to have an information advantage like he had for the first 2 games. And really, Jangbi with a lot of information is just such a great player. Like in the last game, he knew that Arnc was, it looked like Arnc was going to go for those Mutalisks. He knew that because he had the probe in there long enough to see the lair and the fact that the Hydra stem wasn't being built during the middle of the lair morphing, so he could go for the Templar Archives and you know, just get a couple extra cannons and eventually just overwhelm his opponent. He didn't need to get early observers, for example. But anyway, so now we're seeing Arnc pull those drones off of gas. He's going to get that expansion, and he's probably going to be able to kill off this probe now with his 8 lings. Meanwhile, we're seeing the fast expand here from Jangbi, pretty standard build here, and we'll see if he decides to go for a run-by. In fact, with the number of Zerglings he's produced, he could certainly go for a run-by. It looks like he's actually going to morph to lair here, so I'm going to guess it is going to be 2-hatch Mutalisks here. And Jangbi playing it very safe, though. He's going to get that 3rd cannon up, and the 3rd cannon really stops your Zerglings from being able to do any kind of attack, run-by, or just a cannon break, especially if you have 2 probes waiting, too. Arnc is not going to have much success here, and looks like Arnc's not even going to try. I guess he knew that Jangbi would be prepared for this. So that's really not, well, I guess in the pro levels it is hard to actually get a good run-by when your opponent has scouted it, so, but certainly he's not been too effective here with the overpull, so he's going to be economically behind. Of course, in terms of tech, he might be able to surprise Jangbi here. Jangbi might expect it, though, and get that early Corsair scout out and just be able to take care of it, so we'll have to see how this goes here. It is, of course, going to come down to timing with this kind of rush. Hatch is barely going up yet right now in the natural. Very fast rush here from Jangbi. From Yellow Arnc. Arnc could also decide to try to trick a probe behind the base to try to get a scout in that way, but it looks like actually Arnc is prepared for that by having the Zerglings around his mineral patches around that temple. And here comes Yellow with the Spire. So it's going to be Mutalisk Harass here versus Fast Expand, and Jangbi is probably 99% of the time going to put down the Stargate immediately afterwards, and most likely put down the Citadel also. It's a pretty safe thing to do when you're in the dark like this. You want to get that early Stargate out, and perhaps if you really expect it, you could go even for 2 Stargates, or get that +1 attack for the Stargate, the Corsairs. Also, he's going to have to be really fast, though. The moment he sees Mutalisks, or sees the Spire, he's going to put on cannons all around his main base and around this natural expansion. Just to be careful. Looks like he is going to put that pylon down in his natural expansion, just playing it safe there. And it's going to be in time to put down cannons once he spots this Spire. It's really hard. I mean, it is really hard to win with a 2-hatch Mutalisk if your opponent expects it. You know, you can slow them down, but if you don't balance your micro and your macro very well, then you'll lose the game pretty much. You can slow them down, pick off a couple of probes, force them to you know, get more cannons up, but at the same time, you also have to know when you got to slow down your Mutalisk production, when you got to expand. You know, when you just can't go all in here, because right now it is pretty all in strategy. It's just yeah, and we're seeing cannons being built preemptively here, and actually we're seeing a switch into Corsair Reaver here, most likely here from Jangbi. And it's going to be tough here. Jangbi in the dark still, but he definitely has anticipated this, and we saw this happening with Free against Jaedong, where Free anticipated Jaedong's Mutal Rush even before the Corsair got there, and then that was pretty much it. I mean, once the cannons are up, then you have 2 cannons in the main, a huge number of cannons at that natural expansion. I mean, I'm sorry, but Jangbi is way ahead right now. It's going to be really hard, really hard for Arnc to do anything at this point. First Corsair already out, second Corsair being constructed, and it's going to be really tough. Arnc might be able to pick off this 1 cannon as it morphs in, but he's going to take damage on the Mutalisks from these 2 Corsairs now, and from that 1 Dragoon also. I think that might be 3 Corsairs, in fact. But anyway, so Arnc is going to have to get it done here with this small group here. He might be going to try to kill off that 1 cannon. Now, if he could do that and scourge at least one of these Corsairs, he might be able to come back here. Okay, now he's going to go for an attack on the cannons. Meanwhile, the Scourge are keeping the Corsairs back. Nice work there, but looks like the Corsairs managed to pick the Scourge off. I don't know what he's focusing fire on. He's focusing fire on the Corsair, in fact, and he's going to pick off the Corsair. No,